Right. Hello, hi English readers. Welcome to the live reading of the graded reader adaptation of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë. Sorry. I'm Lydie Bureau and I'm an English teacher in France. Oh, sorry, this is a bad start. I'm also the founder of Lydie's Book Club, in which I host live readings of adaptations of classics like Jane Eyre, or contemporary novels of English literature. I tend to prioritize books that are written by women, and once a week I meet the members of my book clubs via Zoom to discuss the chapters read over the week. We also talk about books in general and learning English. And this month, for this new live read along, I have added 3 live workshops. So in addition to the 12 live reading sessions that I'm going to host this month on Instagram, and then accessible for free on the YouTube channel, Lydie's Book Club YouTube channel, I'm going to host 3 live workshops on 3 Saturdays. We've done already one, and all the dates of the next ones are in the description. The next session on Jane Eyre's novel will be on the 1st of June, and we will discuss the chapters that we've read this week, so chapters 6 to 9. I'm not hosting the live workshop this Saturday because I'm attending the Innovate ELT conference in Barcelona. It is organized by the Oxford TEFL school that is based over there in Barcelona. And I'm so excited about this event. It's going to be my first conference, and I will have to, and I will give a talk, which is going to be my first one. So a lot of firsts. And I've already been to not conferences, but sort of festivals, language festivals, but it's really the first time that I'm going to a conference, and I'm very excited to meet other English teachers or language teachers, and also teaching professionals or language professionals, I mean. So it's going to be such an enriching experience, I'm sure. And my talk will be about how book clubs and literary conversation can enhance English fluency. So that's the topic, and I hope that if you live in Barcelona, that you'll be able to attend the event, or if you don't know what to do this weekend, then come over to Barcelona and join this conference. Whether you are an English learner or a teacher, then it's going to be an amazing experience, I'm sure, whether it is meeting people, or learning new ways of teaching, or learning a language. There are so many tools and ways that can make this experience amazing, learning a language. So now, to go back to the live workshops, they're only available for people they're only accessible for people that are members of the book club. So to be able to attend those live workshops, you have to become a member of Lydie's Book Club. So make sure you subscribe now to attend the next 2 live workshops, and start talking about books and practice your English and make it a habit and a regular exercise with other people learning English as well. Today we are reading chapter 9, and it's going to be the last chapter this week, because tomorrow I will be off to Barcelona, so I will be traveling, so I won't have the time to do the live reading. So we will continue next week, of course, for the last week of the reading of Jane Eyre. So if you want to get to know more about Charlotte Bronte's life and the novel Jane Eyre, if it's something that you just you just heard, or you not familiar with the novel, then I invite you actually to, and advise you as well, to listen to the podcast, my podcast episode 20 from my podcast Reading English. So it's episode 20, an introduction to Charlotte Brontë and Jane Eyre. So make sure you listen to this podcast. This way you will have an overview of the novel and be more acquainted with Charlotte Bronte's work and life. Okay, so now let's recap the chapter that we read yesterday, so chapter 8. So where did we left off? We finished the chapter where this is the big reveal. Chapter 8 is the big reveal, because in this chapter, Jane is about to get married to, she's about to marry Mr. Rochester because he proposed, and as they are both in love, she accepted his proposal, and she's over the moon, and yeah, very excited to get married to Mr. Rochester. But when they're about to when they're at the church and about to be officially married, then two men interrupt the wedding ceremony. And it is Mr. Briggs, a lawyer, and he is working for Mr. Mason. And Mr. Mason is Mr. Rochester's brother. He is the brother of Bertha Mason, who is actually Mr. Rochester's wife. And then we learn that Mr. Rochester is already married. So, as you can imagine, it is tremendous news, and heartbreaking news for Jane. She is, we don't really read anything, nothing is said about how Jane feels at this moment, because it's Mr. Rochester talking and taking everybody up to the attic of the house, because the issue is that it's not very conventional. They're not living in a conventional way, because Mr. Rochester's wife, Bertha, is mentally ill, and she is kind of hidden in the attic of Thornfield Hall and held as a prisoner in a way, because she is a danger to herself and to other people. So here is a representation of Bertha looking like a crazy lady, unfortunately, and acting like an animal, or like a wild animal, and almost like a beast, or yeah, something like that. So she's not described as a human being anymore. She loses her humanity completely, whether if it's in the adaptation, but it's more significant in the novel. We can clearly see that she's described as a creature, as an animal. She's not a woman anymore. So it's very sad for this poor woman being sick and Mr. Rochester being stuck in this marriage that he did not choose. And we will learn that later. But for now, this is the only information that I'm going to give you. But yeah, he did not choose to be married to her. So that's how the chapter ends. Everyone is up in the attic to meet his wife, Bertha Mason, and to see that in this way, Mr. Rochester wants to find a way to justify the fact that he wanted to marry someone else, to have a better relationship with, to have a real relationship with someone, and not someone that is sick. So we can see, and in a way to feel for him, really, and is trying to have compassion, to get some compassion from Mr. Briggs, the lawyer, and also Mr. Mason, Berta's brother, and also from Jane in a way, because I guess he feels terribly ashamed of being married to this woman, and also also that he proposed Jane knowing that he was already married. So here there is a way for Mr. Rochester to kind of forgive him in a way. He's trying to, is more like a victim from his condition than or this situation than being really a mean husband and a selfish husband who is cheating on his wife. So that's how chapter 8 ended. And now let's start reading chapter 9. Okay, on the road. So my question at the end of the chapter was, what is going to be Jane's reaction? Is she going to stay? She's going to forgive Mr. Rochester? How is she going to react in front of this, the revelation of this big secret? I left Thornfield early the next morning with a small bag. I had a bit of money and some bread from the kitchen. My heart was breaking with pain. But I could not stay with Mr. Rochester while his wife was leaving. I began to walk. It was a beautiful morning, but I did not look at the sun or the fields around me. I walked until I was very tired, and then I lay down and began to cry. I lay there for a long time, until I heard the wheels of a carriage. Then I slowly stood up and put out my hand. "Where are you going?" I asked the driver. He said the name of a town a long way from Millcote. I gave him all my money and got inside. Then he continued on his way. 2 days passed. I left the carriage in a place called Whitcross. Whitcross was the place where 4 roads met. There were no houses there. The nearest town was 10 miles away. I began to walk along the road. The carriage was a mile away when I realized that my bag was still inside it. I had no clothes, no food, nothing. So here we learn that Jane left, and she left quite, we could see that she left quite abruptly because she didn't bring much money. So it feels like she left a little bit in the rush. It was a worm, and now she doesn't even have clothes or food or nothing. All the things that she had put in her little bag is now gone. She left it. She forgot it in carriage. It was a warm evening, so I lay down on the warm grass and slept the night there. I slept the next night at the bottom of a hill. When I woke up, I knew that I was not well. I felt weak and tired. I walked for a long time along the road until I heard church bells. I followed the sound until I came to a small village and saw a shop with cakes in its window. Oh, I was so hungry. How could I pay for those cakes? I went inside and found a young woman. Does anyone here need a servant? I asked, but she shook her head. I'm sorry, I don't, she said. I need work, any work. I said, please. I'm sorry, you must leave, she said. Then she opened the door and pushed me outside. I didn't know what to do. I thought about begging for money. But I walked towards people and then away from them. I could not do it. I began walking along a lane. The night came, and then morning. I found a farmer's house and begged for a bit of bread. Then I walked on. Another night came, and I saw the light of a house on a hill. I walked up towards it and looked through the window. 2 young women were sitting around a table with a candle on it. The women were not beautiful, but their faces were kind. I watched a servant bring them their dinner. I went to the door and knocked on it. The servant came and opened it. I have no money and cannot walk anymore. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not her. And that's Jane. I have no money and I cannot walk anymore, I said. Please, can I stay here for a night? No, you cannot, the woman replied. Please go away from this door. Then I shall die, I said. I believe in God. If he chooses this, then I will wait for it to happen. The servant is not very nice. Then I fainted. When I woke up, I heard a man's voice saying, all people must die, but not like this, and not so young. Is that you, Mr. St. John? Asked the servant. Yes, please, let this woman in, Anna, he replied. Young woman, please get up and enter our house. Hannah, go and get my sisters. So you see here an illustration of Jane on the floor. She just couldn't stand on her feet. And here you've got Hannah, the servant, and here Mr. St. John. I slowly stood up and went into the bright, clean kitchen. My feet carried me straight to the fire. My whole body was shaking with cold, and I knew that my hair and clothes were wild and dirty. The 2 women came into the kitchen and joined their brother. Mr. St. John and the servant. She looks very thin and pale, said one of the sisters. Hannah, bring her some milk and some bread. What's your name? Asked the other woman when I was eating hungrily. Jane Eyre, I lied. I learned that the sisters' names were Diana and Mary, and their house was called Moore House. But I was too tired and weak to speak more. The three of them spoke together quietly, and they decided that I could stay for a few days until I was stronger. I was in bed for 3 days and nights. Hannah came often with food and drink, and I slowly felt myself getting stronger. Diana and Mary came in once or twice a day. St. John came only once and decided that I only needed rest. There was no need for a doctor. On the 4th day, I could speak and move around. I saw my clothes, which were clean, on the back of a chair. There was a bowl full of water and brush on a table. I washed and I pulled the brush through my hair. Then I dressed. When I went downstairs into the kitchen, I smelled warm bread. Hannah was there and told me to sit down. She then asked me many questions that I did not want to answer. I asked her questions too. St. John Rivers is a clergyman in Morton, the next village, Hannah told me. Diana and Mary are governesses, like her, like Jane. Their father died 3 weeks ago. The family had money, but their father lost it all. And now they are poor. St. John is planning to leave England soon to work as a missionary. A missionary is someone that is traveling around the world to educate people to read and but also towards God. It was a way of spreading Christianity and British values as well, like the colonizers did. At that moment, because at the time, actually, England was a huge empire, and it was their way as well to colonize and convert people to Christianity. At the moment, St. John and his sisters arrived back from a walk and were surprised to see me out of bed. The sisters took me into a larger, more comfortable room. Diana went out and came back with a cake. You must eat that, she said. Hannah says you've had nothing since breakfast. I ate the cake and felt St. John watching me. I looked up at him. He was young, maybe 30, and tall and thin with a handsome face. His eyes were large and blue, and he had thick blonde hair. I will not be here for long, sir, I said. No, he said quietly. When we know where your friends are, we can write to them and you can go home. That cannot happen, sir, I replied, because I have no friends and no home. The three of them watched me carefully for a moment. Then St. John said, but you need help, but you need help, don't you? Yes, I need help, I replied. St. John, you and your sisters have helped me greatly, so I will tell you a little about me. My name is not Jane Eyre, but I cannot give you my true one. I then told them about my time at Lowood Institution and my work as a governess. I was happy in that job. I finished. But 4 days ago, I had to leave. I cannot tell you why, but it was not because of me. Sir, I need work. Show me how to find work, and then I will go. But until then, please let me stay here. I do not want to leave on the street again. Of course, you shall stay here, said Diana, and Mary agreed. My sisters want to help you, said St. John. They think you're a bird that has been hurt, but I prefer to find you a way to help yourself. They think you are a bird that has been hurt, but I prefer to find you a way to help yourself. So I will try to find you work. I quickly became good friends with Dinah and Mary. I enjoyed talking to them, and I read the same books that they read, but I did not feel as close to St. John. He was a quiet, serious man who thought a lot. A month passed, and Mary and Diana were planning to leave Moor House to work as governesses. Hannah was going to join St. John in Morton. One morning, he came to see me and told me about a school for orphans in Morton that needed a teacher. I could start work the next week. And there was a small house next to the school that I could live in. And that's the end of chapter 9. So it's quite an adventure leaving Thornfield without any money, sleeping outside in the forest or up on a hill, in the cold, in the wind, and being hungry, not being able to eat or find people to give you some food. So she struggled for a few days, but finally she found this house with these two girls and their brother, who kindly welcomed her in her house, and St. John and gave her a job at the school. So she will become a teacher in the school, in this country school, let's say. So that's what chapter 9 was about, and it's quite a nice turn of event for Jane after leaving Thornfield in a rush, and so desperate as well. And not only she's deeply disturbed and confused about Mr. Rochester's secret, but on top of it, she leaves Thornfield without any money, anything, and just in a way to escape Thornfield. Well, let me know what you think about this chapter, and how you imagine the rest of the story and what's going to happen to Jane if you don't know already the end of the novel. I hope you enjoy this live reading, and that you will subscribe to the book club membership to have access to this live workshop and be part of this amazing literary journey that we currently offer at Lydie's book club. I remind you that there is the second session on Saturday, the 1st of June, and we look forward to welcome you as well as a new member. And in the meantime, I will see you on Monday for the live reading of chapter 10, and maybe see you in Barcelona at the conference, at the Innovate ELT conference. Bye.